Hi, good evening, everybody. I hope all of you are doing good. Welcome back to the reading practice session. And I really hope that you had a great weekend. So welcome to the first class of this week, and we will begin with the test now. Okay, I'll share my screen with you for today's test. We'll start with reading writing blanks. And I'll give you 2.5 minutes to solve reading writing blanks questions, each question 2.5 minutes. And then you have to post your answers in the chat box. I request all of you to please time yourself. It's very important to see that how much time you are taking to solve the questions. And then once you have solved, please post your answers in the chat box. The more you will participate, the more you will learn. And I hope that all of you have watched the basic grammar videos, because those form the base of these classes. So those who haven't, I request those students, those who are new or those who haven't by any chance, to please watch those classes, those videos on your Language Academy portal. That will help you to go through the rules, the regulations, the grammar, things in detail, because unless and until those things are on your fingertips, you will take very long time either to solve, or you will turn out to get not a good score in your questions. So make sure those who haven't, please watch those videos on your Language Academy portal's dashboard itself. And let's begin with today's class, and make sure that you have a pen and paper and you're continuously making notes of whatever you feel like it's a rule, it's an example, it's a basis, it's a logic that you can keep in mind and that can help you in some other question to solve. So please keep noting that. So here you have your first question on the screen and 2.5 minutes to solve this. Please make sure that you are timing yourself. Am I audible to all of you properly? Any problems in the audio, anyone? All right, so somebody with the name Sandhu, please check your audio connection once. Because rest of the students don't have any problem in the audio. All right, so you have the first question on your screens and you have 2.5 minutes to solve this, and then I'll wait for your answers in the chat box, and it will be followed by a discussion on each question 2 times, during which you have to make notes, you have to understand the logics, and then you can ask your questions in the chat box. So your time starts now. Okay, it should be done. Let's discuss the answers. Anybody left to post in the chat box your answers? Okay. So the context was very easy to understand as well as interesting, I believe. So should have been a good attempt. The day after Thanksgiving is the start of the holiday shopping season. Thanksgiving is always on a Thursday. So the day after is a Friday. This day has come dash as Black Friday. And I have got two major answers. Some of you have written this day has come around. So can a day Monday has come around, Tuesday has come around make sense? Come around means physically come somewhere. That is coming around. And also around cannot be used for days to come. So the answer was this day has come to be known as. You always have to match the word written after the blank. You have to see with which words as generally go. So do you say around as, say around 15 million people were there. Come around, let's go for a walk. So come, that's also come over. That come to my house, let's go for a walk. Come around cannot be used for Mondays and Tuesdays. So it has to be this day has come to be known as, because this is what we call that day. Black Friday is what we call that Friday. So call is known as, and it has to go with to be known as. It has been the busiest shopping day of the year dash 2005. What do we have is during goes with the time period. Here is there is no time period. There's just 1 year. While goes with comparisons, or while goes with ing form of verb. For example, while singing, while dancing, while eating. If it goes with the verb, it goes with ing form of verb. After 2015 or since 2015. So since 2015 is the right answer, because since means from the starting of. Whenever you have present perfect tense in the sentence, with the time you always select since. So since comes with the time period whenever there is present perfect tense. So you can note it down for your help. Present perfect means has or have. So since 2005 means from 2005 till now, because has have means present tense. This is the busiest shopping day of the year. Many stores offer great deals on Black Friday. They open their doors in the wee hours of the morning. They try to attract shoppers with big discounts. Some items like TVs are much cheaper than dash. So what is the overall context of this passage, this paragraph? What are they trying to say? They are trying to say that on Black Friday, you get discounts, which you don't get on other days. So what is the comparison between? Comparison is between time periods, this particular day and the other days. So some items like TVs are much cheaper than dash. What are we comparing this day with? Other days. Then ordinary, ordinary goes with ordinary and special in that context. Then routine, so nobody goes to buy TVs in routine. Then usual, usual means what you normally the prices are and what the prices on this particular day are. So normal prices will be called usual prices. And standard, there are no standard prices for TV. Standard means only one fixed price. So some items like TVs are much cheaper than usual, because we are comparing the time. Than usual time, they are cheaper on this particular day. Stores may even lose money on these items. They hope that shoppers will buy gifts for other people while they are in the store. The problem is that there are not enough low priced items to go around. So this sentence was very important to select the next answer. They said you don't have many low priced items to go around. Each stores may have only have dash. So we have only have a few. A few also means not many. Much cannot go because much is used for uncountable things, and the noun we have used is items. Items means countable. More is second form of verb V2, so it is used only in comparison, and this sentence is not making any comparison. And a lot is opposite of what the previous sentence said. Previous sentence said there are not enough items, so we cannot say there are a lot of items. We'll say there are only a few. A few means not many again. These items are in high demand. People stand in long queues to get such great deals. They may dash hours before a store opens. So if the store is shut, you go there and you stand in a line for hours even before the store opens. So they may line in, line around, line up, or line on. So to stand in a line is called line up. This is very common. Even in the schools, your sports teacher might say, okay, line up all of you. So line up means stand in a queue, all of you. Stand in a straight line, all of you. That is line up. Right, so these were the answers. The first one is good, Nilesh, very well done. The first one is known as, it was very important to match as, and you all know that they are saying that this particular day is called Black Friday. So called means it's known as Black Friday. So you have to match both the words together. Second, with the time period, whenever we say that from the starting of this year, we always go with since. Since means from the starting of. Third one, we were comparing time. So this day prices are cheap compared with the usual prices, compared with the normal prices. And then based on the context, they said we don't have enough low priced items. So we'll say we only have a few, means we don't have many, we don't have a lot. And the last ones, when you stand in a line, that is called line up. Like I gave the example, in the schools, a sports teacher used to say, okay, line up all of you, let's go to the playground. So that's line up. Right, so these are the answers. Ordinary, Prabjot, ordinary goes with ordinary and special. So if the context is about ordinary means something which is not very important, something which is okay, then we use the word ordinary. Like we said, this dress is so ordinary. So it's used in a bit negative sense that you're trying to say that it has nothing special in it, nothing important in it. No, it's fine. We can use line up with the word without the word for. It's not a compulsion. Any other query, anyone in this question? So good, a lot of you have got a full score, very well done. So let's move on to question number 2. And here is your question. You have 2.5 minutes. Put your answers in the chat box. who has used the marker on the screen? Please don't do that. Anju, please don't use the marker on the screen. Okay, let's discuss the answers for this question. So this says 𝗙𝗵𝗶𝗹 was born in 1973 and she gained dash in the 21st century for her extraordinary quilted portraits of African Americans. So first of all, they introduced the person, the name of the person, the birth year, and they said this person gained dash in the 21st century for her extraordinary work. Whatever work has been done, it has nothing to do with selecting the answer. We can just say this person gained dash for her extraordinary work. So when someone works something really good, extraordinary, so what can that person gain? She gained recognition. Recognition is a word which we use when we want to say a lot of people came to know about that person. That person gained popularity. She became popular for doing this thing. Awareness is something that we create. We don't gain awareness. Gain is to get. And with awareness, the right verb to be used is always raise. Raise comes out of create, because awareness is something that we spread about a topic in the society. So that is not something we get, we spread it. Gained realization. Realization is for yourself thing. It has nothing to do with other people. Realization is when you realize that, okay, this is the point, this is the high time that I should do this. This is the time in my life that I should do this. Or you realize that you have been suffering from disease. That is realization. That is with self, not with someone else, or that has nothing to do with other people. And you don't gain understanding for your extraordinary work, you get understanding. So for your extraordinary work, you get popularity, you get known by people, and that is what recognition means. Her life-sized works were often modeled from historical photographs that were labeled only with a demeaning term and the location. Butler selected, researched, and depicted those individuals in and dash to uncover their identities. So with and comes a noun, and that noun should start with the vowel A-E-I-O-U. Expended is not a noun. Things that are with ed or t, they are verbs, they cannot be nouns. Exercise is a noun, effort is a noun, achievement is a noun. So then we have to select based on context. Butler selected, researched those individuals. Why did she do that? In and dash to uncover their identities. In an exercise, so selecting, researching are exercises. In an attempt, in an effort, or attempt means the same. In an achievement, so selecting or researching about people is not an achievement. She did this in an effort to uncover their identities, in an attempt, because she wanted to uncover that who these people are. So that is called in an effort to find out. She chose fabric and color to highlight certain dash. So certain means plural, certain means some, and we need a plural noun, component, characteristics, peculiar, and criteria. There's only one plural noun, so we don't have a choice here. For figures with calmer expressions or dispositions, she used cool tone fabric. For more animated characters, Butler used warmer colors. Both her cool and warm hues, called this and that, reflect the palette of the 𝗙𝗪𝗀 collective, a 1960s black art movement formed in Chicago, which she learned about dash attending university. So we are talking about a movement. She learned about this movement dash attending university. That's the same sentence structure. I gave you the example last week also. I'll use the same example so that you can recall it. I completed my homework while watching television. So when two things are done at the same time, we use while in between, one with ing form of verb. So here also they are using the same sentence structure. She learned about the movement while attending university. Means when she was doing studies in her university, during that time, she learned about this movement. Butler dash fabrics from all over the world, especially from parts of Africa. So when we have different tenses, present, past, past perfect, and past again, so then you should have to check the overall context of the passage. The passage is in past tense. They said Butler selected, Butler researched, Butler chose, Butler used, again used, So we'll also go with past tense. She dashed fabrics from all over the world. She sourced fabrics all over the world. Source means got. Source and from always come together. We have done this in some other blanks last week also, where we had a blank saying this is the sources from where I got something. So source is always the place from where you get something. So source and from come together. This is Butler sourced fabrics from all over the world. Source basically means she got her fabrics from all over the world, especially from these places. So this has nothing to do with perfect tense, past perfect or present perfect. And drawn is the drawing, or drawn is, we use the verb drawn, we draw conclusions, draw results, generally with conclusion. So that is to get, but that's not something physically getting. That is not drawn. Physically getting is sourcing, and fabrics is a physical thing. So you got your fabrics from Africa means you sourced your fabrics from Africa. Africa is the source of your fabrics. Right? So these are the answers. When you gain something means you get, and awareness is not what we get. Understanding is not what we get for our work. We get known for our work, and known means recognition. With an comes a noun, in an effort, because that's something she's doing for some result. So in an effort to uncover the identities. Certain means some, and it should come with a plural. And out of the options, there was only one plural option, which was characteristics. Fourth is a writing sentence structure when we say I did this while doing that. So past and continuous tense come together with while in between. And the last one, based on the overall context, everything was in past tense. The last sentence, we also followed past tense. She got her fabrics from all over the world. Got means she sourced her fabrics from all over the world. Right? Any confusions, anybody in this question? So Vasi, your overall score should be 80% out of blanks. If you want to score 79, 80% on a consistent basis. So depend more on percentages. For the exam point of view, depend on percentage, that how much percentage am I getting when I'm solving the test. And the more your concentration should be on the 1 mark that you have lost. What type of mistake do you do consistently? Because once you realize that, okay, this is my weak point, only then you will be able to work on that particular area. Right, so let's move on to question number 3. So here is the third question. Please don't use the marker on the screen, anybody. You have 2.5 minutes to solve this and then post your answers, please. All right, you should be done with your answers. Anybody left? I generally advise students that if you have a blank in the very first sentence, sometimes it's okay to read 2-3 sentences if you're not very sure that what the first sentence means, because if there's a blank in the first sentence, I personally believe that it is impossible to understand what they're trying to say. So if I come across a question in which there is a blank in the first sentence, I generally read 2 to 3 sentences and then I understand the topic and then go back and fill the first one. Maybe that can be helpful for you, because the way some of you have written among as your first answer, you definitely did not read ahead. So the first sentence said all living organisms are able to detect changes dash themselves and in their environments. So one complete meaning was all living organisms are able to detect means find changes in their environment. Means I am a living organism, you are a living organism. We are able to detect the changes in our environments. Dash in themselves means in ourselves also. If this was not clear and you said among, even the next sentence made it clear that changes in the external environment, what do they mean by environmental changes? It's change in light, temperature, sound, motion, odor, while changes in the internal environment include those in the position of the head, position of the limbs, and the position of the internal organs. So you don't find changes in the position of head and limb of other people. How can we say among themselves? Among means in between a lot of people. So these kind of changes a person can only observe in his or her own self, not in others. So the answer was within. So we detect changes within ourselves. So they have written in plural sense, all living organisms are able to detect changes within themselves and the environment. So then they gave the examples. What did they mean by external environmental changes and the internal environmental changes? Then what you have to do, once detected, these internal and external changes must be analyzed and acted dash in order to survive. So if we want to survive, we have to analyze these changes and acted dash. This is a complete collocation. The word acted always comes with acted upon. Acted upon means we have to react, we have to respond. Whatever change is in our body, we have to work accordingly. That whatever is needed for our survival. If there is a change in our internal organ, let's say our heart, liver, something is functioning abnormally, then we have to act upon. Act upon means you have to go and take the treatment for that. So that is, we have to analyze, and then acted upon means to do something for that, and acted upon is a collocation. As life on Earth evolved and the environment became more complex, the survival of organisms depended on how well they could dash to changes in their surroundings. So with could is a modal. All the modals come with first form of verb, and that verb should match with the word to. So survival of organisms depend on how well they means how well the organisms could dash to changes. So organisms means we human beings. How well human beings could answer to changes. If there is change in temperature, do I answer to that? Do we answer to that? No, we don't. Acknowledge means accept. How well we accept changes. There is no need for to. Acknowledge doesn't come with the word to. And the same goes with accept again. We accept the change or we don't accept the change. We don't accept to the change. So to is not required for accept or acknowledge, but the word respond always comes with to. You have to respond to the changes in the environment. So you generally say, why did not you respond to my call? So respond comes with to. And then they say one factor necessary for dash was a speedy reaction or response. What is the topic going on? Everything that we are doing is to survive. Survival, survive. So one factor necessary for obviously survival is the topic. We cannot say for durability. Durability means the things which are durable, they go on for a long period of time. For duration, there is no duration for a human being, but there is a survival factor for human being that we work for. Since communication from one cell to another by chemical means was too slow to be adequate for survival, again the topic is same, a system evolved that allowed for faster reaction. That system was the nervous system, which is based upon the almost instantaneous dash of electrical impulses from one region of the body to another. Means we are talking about movement, something going from one part of the body to the other part of the body. This cannot be called communication. Communication is normally used for talking, like we talk on phone or we send letters, that is communication. Transmission also means sending of one thing to another, and it is generally used with signals. And in our body sends signals by means of chemicals. So chemicals go from brain to the spinal cord, and then from the spinal cord to the hand, to the limbs, to the whichever legs and feet, so that the movement is possible. So that's called transmission of impulses basically, or it can be called transmission of what was it, signals. But yes, impulses is the right word. So these are the answers. The first one, based on the context, they were talking about inside a human being and outside a human being, there are changes. The second one, act upon, is a collocation. Third one, we have to respond to. To comes with respond, to doesn't come with accept and acknowledge. Fourth one, the topic is going for, we have to do something for survival, to survive. And transmission, because going of impulses or information or signals or nerve cells from one part to the other is not communication, it's transmission. Any questions, anyone? Yes, they used communication because they were talking about that passing of information is important. It is important to pass information from one cell to another, but that process is not called communication. Communication means we have to inform the body part, like my brain is informing my hand to move. So I'll say my brain is communicating with my hand. So that will be communication. But the process, the brain is sending signals from the brain through the nerve cells to the cells of the hand. That won't be communication. The process, the transferring will be called transmission, going from one part to the other. Okay. All right. Biology in grade 9. Those who remember. Okay, question number 4. 2.5 minutes for this, and then post your answers. Yes, anybody will have to post the answers. How do you know that political conservatives are the only people responsible for misinformation? Do we get misinformation only from political conservatives? Don't we get misinformation from media sources, internet, newspaper, TV channels, news channels, intentionally or unintentionally? But these are the major platforms or the general, very usual platforms from where we get misinformation, or we can get. So you cannot say only from conservatives we get misinformation. So before selecting your answer, sometimes just think a bit out of the exam general level, that is it possible even to do this thing? And some of you have written broadly. What is broad and narrow? Broadly, in very particularly, broad is used in the width of something, very broad fact. Broad and narrow. Narrow means less width, and broad means very wide. Who shares fake news? Political scientists, behavioral researchers, and media have said that political conservatives are responsible for the proliferation of misinformation. The sentence is absolutely complete. We will need adverb. So conservatives are only responsible. Conservatives are also responsible, but they did not talk about anybody else being responsible. So we cannot say also unless and until somebody else is also held responsible. Largely responsible or broadly. So largely is the answer, because largely means mainly. So mainly these are responsible, means a major source of misinformation comes from here. Three different sources are saying this thing, that majorly it comes from here. Broadly is used in terms of widening of something. So that is when we use the word broad. But although there is a documented association, not all conservatives share fake news or dash such behavior. What is the verb they are using? First form of verb. So we will also need first form of verb without s. So supported is not first form. Endorse means support. Spread, we know what it means, and confirm also is easy to understand. So we can just match it with behavior. Conservatives means human beings. So they say not all conservatives, whatever people they are, not all people share fake news. And we have to match the same subject with after the blank. Not all conservatives support such behavior. Not all conservatives spread such behavior. Now, behavior is not something which can be spread. Not all conservatives confirm such behavior. Again, behavior is not something which can be confirmed or unconfirmed. But yes, behavior can be supported. If somebody is sharing false news, you also start supporting this. Yes, this is true. That is, we can support such behavior. Such sweeping generalizations threaten to condemn everyone who subscribes to conservative values, and that in turn risks further and more dangerous polarization, whatever so much typical. To find solutions to this misinformation crisis, our society needs a clear-eyed assessment of who and what drives the spread of falsehoods and conspiracy theories. So, taking the easy words, we say that to find a solution for this negative thing, we need to find out who and what drives the spread of these theories. Falsehoods and conspiracy are not positive words. So we don't need a positive adjective. We obviously need a negative adjective for falsehoods and conspiracy theories. Hateful theory, hateful conspiracy theories. Doesn't make sense. We don't hate any theory that we have here. Despitefully is not an adjective, it's an adverb. Sorry, commendable is positive. We say what a commendable performance you have done. So commendable is used for good things. Malicious is the answer, because malicious is negative. When you do something with a negative intention, that is called malicious. So that's why that is the answer, that who is spreading these intentionally or with the wrong intent, who is spreading these negative falsehoods and conspiracy theories. So our research on misinformation sharing has examined another key dash of behavior, and that thing is personality. Two things to note here. Another always comes with a singular noun because it means an other, one more. That is called another. So it comes with singular noun. Another key dash of behavior, and the answer is personality. Now, what is personality of a behavior? Is personality a cause of behavior? Personality a reason of behavior? Personality occasion of behavior? Or personality a determinant of behavior? So by studying one's personality, we can find out we can not exactly find out, we can get to know about the behavior of that person. Personality is not a reason of our behavior. We don't behave in a particular way because of our personality. That's not the reason. And again, personality is not the cause. Personality is a factor of studying our behavior. So information sharing has examined another key factor of behavior, which is personality. Then how can we understand behavior is by understanding a person's personality. There are several systems for identifying and measuring personality traits, but one of the most widely used is the five-factor theory, often called the Big Five. It dash traits into five categories. So it is singular. We need a verb with S, and we have only one. So no problem, no confusion, no time waste. It organizes traits into five categories, and then these are the names of the category. Right? Yes, Ranjan. So broadly means when you want to say physically wide or you want to say something which has a variety of things, then we say broadly. So these are the answers. The first one is largely because we can say mainly it comes from here. This is the source of misinformation. The second one, we need first form of verb with behavior. So we cannot spread behavior, we cannot confirm, but yes, we can support somebody's behavior, good or bad. The third one, spread of falsehoods and conspiracy theories, definitely needs a negative adjective. So malicious is a negative word, which means with negative intent. And other means singular noun, and that thing should be a dash. That thing is personality. Personality is what of behavior. So personality is not the reason of behavior. Personality is not cause. Personality is a determinant, means it comes out of personality, or your behavior comes out of your personality. And it is singular, so it comes with verb with S, and there was only one. Then what it cannot be its, Sunil, because for its will mean completely different sentence. Its will be a possessive pronoun. So its means we need a noun first of all. For whom are we using its? We need a non-living noun for that. Okay. If you have its before the blank, then you will have to select noun. You cannot select adjective, you cannot select verb. With it, you have to select verb. So it will completely change the whole thinking process if it is its in place of it. Any other confusion, anybody? Okay. So the last question for reading writing blanks for today, you have 2.5 minutes to solve this and then post your answers, please. Good, very good attempt. So I will request again, those who are not taking notes, you're doing the biggest mistake for the reading module. Please try that you're noting down the rules, because when you make the mistake, and then the reason for the mistake is when I say, okay, this was the same rule. Singular noun comes with the plural verb. Plural noun comes with the verb without S. That is the rule. I think in single day, in a single test, we repeat 4 to 5 times. And believe me, it comes in 4 to 5 blanks in the exam. And if you're missing that, that means you can lose 5 marks in the exam. Take the possibility with you. So if you have not noted it down and like that the other rules, please do that. Energy conversion. What is the meaning of this? Transformation of energy from forms provided by nature to forms, means changing of energy from the natural forms to the forms that dash by humans. So to the forms that will be used, that can be used, that uses before by we need ed, that are using. So it will be, I am very, very happy to see that almost all of you have got the right answer. So we are changing energy forms from the natural forms to the forms that can be used. We cannot say that will be used, because we're already using it. So we were just giving the definition of energy conversion. It's not about it was used or will be used or we are presently using it. It is a definition. So what do you mean by energy conversion? Energy conversion means changing of natural energy to the energy that can be used by humans, not that will be or that would be. So it's not a tense based blank. We have to just give the definition, and definitions always come in present tenses. Over the centuries, a wide dash of devices and systems. So means the answer has to be singular. A wide dash of devices and systems. Array means variety. A wide display. So have we displayed devices and systems somewhere that can convert energy? A wide arrangement of or organize is not even noun. We need a noun with a. So we generally say wide variety or wide array. This is a common collocation, common combination when you want to say that a number of kinds we have. So we'll say a wide variety or a wide array. This cannot be arrangement, a wide arrangement of devices and systems, because we have not arranged them from somewhere. We have invented those things. So it will better be to go with a wide variety of devices and systems dash for this purpose. Now, since your answer is singular, the word written before of is always the noun of the sentence with which we have to match the verb. So the answer here is array, which is singular. So if the noun is singular, we need a verb accordingly. A wide array of devices and systems. Have cannot come with singular noun. Have comes with plural noun. So is used with singular and has is used for singular. Both the things are correct. Now, when you read again, over the centuries means whatever is happening from a number of years. And something which is happening for a number of years and is happening present time also, we use has and have for that. Those who have been attending the classes from 2 weeks, this thing we discussed, I think, in last week. The use of has, understanding the use of has is very, very important. So has means something that has started in the past and is still continuing. You use has in that case. Is will always be in the option wherever you have has. So is only used when you have the thing only in the present. It has nothing to do with past. Now, over the centuries cannot come with is, because over the centuries clearly says that we are talking about from past till present. So we'll go with has. So first of all, elimination was based on singular, plural, and then the context of the sentence. So over the years, a wide variety, a wide array of devices and systems has been developed for this purpose. Some of these energy converters are quite simple, like the windmills, for example, transform the kinetic energy of wind into mechanical energy for pumping water and grinding grain. Other energy conversion systems are decidedly more complex. dash those that take raw energy from fossil fuels and nuclear fuels to generate electrical power. So whenever we give a general statement and then you pick up one particular type, then we always say especially, we say specifically, or we say particularly. So that is a way of picking up one kind of out of the general. So we say other energy conversion systems, which means all the energy conversion systems. And out of all the systems, now we are picking the one which take raw material, means we are picking only one particular type. So when picking one out of the group, we go with specifically, specially, or particularly. That is a way of highlighting one thing out of the group. So here it will be particularly those, means especially those, specifically those that take raw material from fossil fuels and nuclear fuels. Systems of this kind require multiple steps or processes in which energy dash a whole series of transformations. So energy is singular, we need a verb with S. So the first elimination is take on and go through because it is without S. Then energy undertakes. Undertakes means energy do something. So energy is not doing anything. Rather, energy is converting. Energy is being converted. So we'll say energy undergoes. Means a lot of things are done on the energy. Not energy does anything on anything else. That is the meaning of undergoes. So these are the answers. The first one can be used because we are just giving a definition. Second one, with wide, we generally say wide variety or wide array. Third, the systems, a wide variety of systems has been developed. So has comes when you are talking about something starting in the past and it is still continuing in the present. That is the meaning of has. Is means only present tense. And because the sentence has over the centuries, we have to connect it to the past also. So that is why the answer will be has been developed. And then when we pick up one thing out of the group, then we always use after the comma, we say particularly, specially, specifically, any of these adverbs. And the last one, energy, singular. So we need a verb with S and we'll say energy undergoes, means energy go through. But we need S with that, energy goes through. So that is the meaning of undergoes. Right, any confusions, anyone in this question? A does not have S, Deepak. Energy is singular, you need a verb with S. If it is Nilesh, if it is regularly you're getting this, like 70, this is 72%. If you're regularly getting 70% or enough, yes, this is very good. But if it is like occasionally, then you need to make it consistent. Right? So Sujan, that's what I said. When we pick up one thing out of the group, then we don't say referring to. We are picking up from all the conversion systems. We are picking up one system that is called specifically, particularly, or specially. So you explain one out of the group. So like you say that I have a lot of shoes, especially sports ones. So you won't say referring to sports ones in that case. I hope this helps. Okay, let's move on to reorders. And here is your first question for reorders on the screen. You have 2 minutes to solve this and then share your answers. No problem. Done. Very good. This is called an easy question, but getting a full score in easy question in reorders is also a task, what I have seen. So I still say very good if you get a full score in easy questions in reorders. The first sentence is C, where we get the introduction about who are we talking about. We are talking about a person born in Dublin in 1945. This is the name of the person. A 20th and 21st century painter, grew up in London. And then we have a continuing sentence where we are giving more information about the person. In 1975, he moved to the United States, where he made his best known paintings of lines, stripes, overlapping blocks of color. This was just giving information, introducing and giving more information. And then there was a connection. You said, while these objective works, if you pick up just the easy ones, these works. So you have to talk about the works, and we have talked about the works before this sentence. So these works means the paintings, whatever we have talked about, share qualities with minimalism. And then hyphen means explanation, definition. What is minimalism? The dominant movement during the 𝗙𝗍𝗲's artistic training in the 1960s. They are surprisingly expressive. So this was kind of giving the definition or introduction to something. When you put a hyphen and then you write some words and then you again put a hyphen, that is a way of giving explanation or introduction. Rather, I should say not explanation, introducing the thing, that you are first time talking about this thing. And then, because now you have introduced minimalism, is you can talk about minimalism further. Whereas minimalism is characterized by its simple, often geometric forms and objective approach, and then this and that. This is the further explanation about the concept of minimalism. So clear hints, first introduction, then further explanation, then these works, very easy and very simple, and then first definition or first introduction, and then further elaboration of any form. Very good, well done. So the day you will start looking at your reorders in terms of pairs, okay, this is introduction, this is explanation, this is explanation, this is example. It will be very, very easy to solve, and believe me, your scores will jump in your reading module, because one correct reorder gives at least 3 marks straight away, wherever you have to put, whereas you have to make 3 correct blanks for getting that 3 score. Okay, 2 minutes and then post your answers for question number 2. All right. Can we say more in the very first sentence? More is a word that is second form of verb and it is used in comparisons. So you cannot start with the comparison because to compare, you should have something first to start the comparison. Most of you have been confused in selecting the first sentence, but it should be between, if you're confused between D and E, it still makes sense. But how can you be confused between C, B, and A? Because these are the three same type of sentences. If C is the first, C can be the first one, then B can also be the first one because you're just talking about different types of organisms, single cell organism, multicellular organisms, more complicated organisms. So how can you decide which is the first one? So the first sentence is D. The simplest type of response is a direct one-to-one stimulus response reaction. So this was the topic that what you're going to talk about is this type of response, and the simplest type of response is one-to-one response reaction. And then you give a brief explanation that what do we mean by stimulus and what do we mean by response in this definition. So change in the environment is the stimulus. The reaction of the organism is the response. So this was the explanation of what is the meaning of response and stimulus in this definition. And then you start with the lowest to the highest level. The lowest level of organism is a single celled organism. The response is a result of a property of the cell fluid called irritability. And then the next level is larger, you're comparing, and more complicated. Because how can we know that the last one is multicellular? Because there is no more complicated organism than multicellular. Multicellular is the most complicated one. So after multicellular, we cannot say more complicated because it does not exist in nature. So after single cell, you can say more complicated, means more complicated than single and less complicated than multicellular. That is in larger and more complicated organisms, those in which response involves, they have a control mechanism and whatever. And then the last one, most complicated, is multicellular organisms. This controller consists of two basic mechanisms. This part of information, this was extremely unimportant. We have nothing to do with what are they explaining about organisms. They had no hint in these sentences. These were just time waste. Their sequence was only based on you will start with the lowest and go in hierarchy to the highest. And after multicellular, we cannot say more complicated because nothing exists in nature complicated than multicellular organisms. Right? Any questions? So this not many of you have got correct. Yeah, you could. This is also right. Ranjan has a very good hint for this controller because this here you have introduced controller. So this was also a hint. Let's say you don't understand multicellular and more complicated. You will first introduce controller and then only you will refer to saying this controller. This controller means you should have introduced it first. And that was also a reason A comes first and B comes after that. Good, Ranjan. Very good. Okay, question number 3. And you have 2 minutes. The last question for reorders for today. A is not the first sentence. Change your answers, all of you. So you want to start with the first known wind device was this. Why are you telling us about the wind device? What is the topic? Is the topic only about the first known wind device? So the topic is windmills or wind devices, not the first wind device is the topic. So you have to learn the differentiation between general and specific information. The first sentence is B, where you just talked about windmills. Windmills were among the original prime movers that replaced animal muscle as a source of power. At least first introduce that why are you talking about windmills? What information are we going to give about windmills? So we are going to say windmills are one of the prime movers. Where did they come from? They replaced animal muscle as a source of power. And then you explain they were used for centuries. You cannot say first known, because if you say first known, it is singular, one, and your explanation is with they. They means it has to go with plural noun, windmills. That is why windmills and they will come together. So you have to be careful about singular plural when you are putting your reorders. So they were used for centuries in various parts of the world, converting the energy of the wind into mechanical energy for grinding grain, pumping water, and draining lowland areas. So here the clear hint was they and it, because here you have it, here you have the first device, just one device. So here we'll now start with first device, because we have two sentences with singular. The first known wind device was described by this person, and then we'll say it, because now first known device is singular. It was modeled on a water driven paddle wheel and was used to drive a piston pump that forced air through wind organ to whatever is the explanation. So our hint was only it and one device. And in the end, we talk about the earliest known references, because there is no sentence in connection to this sentence. So any sentence which is standing alone, but it is not the broadest sentence, it cannot be the topic sentence, it will come at the end. The earliest known references to wind-driven grain mills found in Arabic writings of the 19th century. So we don't have any other sentence with references or about time period. So they will come, this sentence will come at the end. So be careful about singular plural. Pronouns are very important, and be careful about what is the topic first of all. Now, first windmill was not the topic, just windmills is the topic. Right? Never mind. So let's begin with reading blanks, and here we have the first one on the screen. You have 2 minutes to solve this. And then post your answers, please. Why is my laptop not working? Okay. First question on the screen, 2 minutes, and then post your answers. All right, should be done. Please post your answers, all of you. Good, well done, a good attempt. This says during the late 18th and 19th centuries, the people of Middle Columbia area dashed several kinds of material culture from the plains. So we need past tense because whatever happened, it happened in the 18th and 19th centuries. So how many past forms of verbs we have? We had two, adopted and associated. Associated always comes with the word with. We don't have the word with written anywhere after the blank. So associated is not possible and we are left with adopted. When we have the discussion and when you're checking your answers, what basically you have to check is, did I select adopted with this method? And if not, then you have to note it down. This is what is the purpose, the sole and the most important purpose of this class is to understand the ways of doing, not the right and wrong answers. Then they say, for example, whenever there is a connector with two commas in between the sentence, you always read it in the beginning of the sentence. For example, this women made and wore plains inspired beaded dresses. Men began to wear feathered head dresses and other wore something, and tapes became popular. Dash innovations occurred on the eastern periphery. So what we have in capitals is similar and therefore comes with a comma. There is no comma after the blank, so therefore cannot be the answer. And my answer is similar. Similar innovations occurred on the eastern periphery of the plateau and the northwestern people. So we have, however, we will read it in the beginning of the sentence. However, the northwestern people rejected these changes, dash maintaining traditions. So they reject the changes because they want to maintain the traditions and something that can convey the same meaning. They rejected these changes for maintaining traditions or in favor of. So for and in favor of both are correct, but in favor of is more academic. So that shows your priority, that you are rejecting something in favor of, means because you want to prioritize the other thing, whereas for has no prioritizing aspect into it. That's why in favor of will be more academic. So in favor of maintaining the traditions, the military ethos common dash the plains people. So whatever this thing is, this thing common dash plains people. So common in the people, but we don't have in, so we can say among, because among comes with a plural noun and people means lot of people. So the common among plains people was not found uniformly among residents of the plateau. And they say other groups chose to avoid conflict. However, the Flathead in particular were well regarded by visitors for their courtesy, honesty, courage, and dash. So one more basis for which they were regarded. We had two, hospitality and friendly. We need nouns. Courtesy is a noun, honesty is a noun. Friendly is not a noun. Friendly is an adjective. Friendliness, friendly behavior is a noun. So we cannot put friendly. So we have to go with hospitality, which is a noun itself. So they were known for courtesy, honesty, courage, and hospitality. Means for these things. So the first one will be adopted because associated needs the word with, which is not given in the sentence. Second, therefore comes with a comma. So we will go with similar because we don't have the comma. They rejected these changes in favor of, means prioritizing the other thing. And the military ethos common dash plains people. Common in the plains people, but we don't have in among, so also same purpose. And the last one, we needed a noun, and out of hospitality and friendly. Hospitality is a noun, friendly is not a noun, so we cannot go with that. I hope it's clear. Any confusions, anyone in this question? All right, should be done. Anybody left to post the answer? This was quite obvious answers in this particular question. Shivali, forming planets are one possible dash for the rings and gaps. So after one, can we write a plural answer that you have written one reasons? So the only thing we have in singular noun is one possible explanation for the rings and gaps observed in the disks of gas and dust around young stars. But this theory has trouble explaining why it is dashed to find planets associated with rings, why it is hard to find, why it is rare to find. We have rare, nothing else we can say. Why it is array to find or why it is away to find doesn't make any sense. Why is it rare? That why is it so uncommon to find planets? New supercomputer simulations show that after creating a ring, a planet can move dash and leave the ring behind. So move away, when you move forward and one of the things just is left behind. So that is, the planet can move away and the ring is left behind. Not only does this bolster the planet theory for ring formation, the simulations show that a migrating planet can produce a dash of patterns. So with comes a singular noun and it should match with of. So and we have only one, we have two, variety and array. Otherwise, array is more academic and it means variety only, but it cannot come with a. So we need an. If they would have given an, we will go with array. But since we have a, we'll go with variety. A variety of patterns matching dash actually observed in disks. So matching with what? Matching the ones which we observe in disks. So that will be matching those, because those always comes when you have the explanation given after the blank. Matching those, which ones? The ones which are observed in disks, and this is given after the blank, so it will be those observed in disks. This was quite obvious answer kind of question, so this should have been correct. So it won't be moving. A planet can move around. It's possible to say that the planet can move around, but it doesn't match with and leave the ring behind. So moving around has nothing to do with leaving something behind, but moving away means you leave that place. So that is when we say something is left behind. So Bhuvan, this is something generally students do in the exam. Generally missing a and, missing the, of, missing apostrophe s's, missing has, have, and these are the only reasons you lose. If by any chance, unfortunately, anybody fails in reading, that person fails because of missing these things. You never fail because of vocabulary. I can give this to you in writing, because you only get 2 to 3 blanks based on vocabulary in the exam. There are students who come back and say the exam was very tough, ma'am, the language was very tough. And believe me, you can solve all those difficult language questions based on grammar if you use that method. So make your discussion part strong, understand, realize how things are solved, not based on vocabulary. Yes, vocabulary is very important. You have to improve and enrich your vocabulary, but not the only thing that will work in the exam. Okay, so third question, 2 minutes to answer, and then post your answers, please. Okay, let's look at the answers. Though a lot of you have done really very well. Our ability to understand the syntax of complex sentences is one of the most difficult language skills to dash. I've got two major answers. Most difficult language skills to acquire and most difficult language skills to gain. Now, how do we use the word gain? Is one gain is profit. Another gain is used in a winning context. When you win something, that means you have not really worked hard for something and you get that thing, that is your gain. But when you have really worked hard something, when you have made a learning, when you have made an improvement, that is acquiring. And we use, otherwise also you can make a note that with the noun skills we always use the verb acquire. You acquire the skill, because skill is not something which you will get, that you have to learn, improve, practice, then you get that skill. So that will be acquiring. In 2019, research had revealed a dash between being particularly proficient in tool use and having good syntactic ability. So a dash, with a comes a noun, and that noun should go with the word between. So we have a noun correlation, we have equivalence. So when there are two things in particular, you should always go with correlation. Correlation means a kind of relation between two things. The research had showed a relation. A correlation means how these two are connected to each other. A new study by researchers from this university and this university in collaboration with this institute has now shown that both skills dash on the same neurological resources. So research has shown what? A verb, skills dash, that will go with on. So verbs we have is skills rely and skills gain. And with the word on, we always say rely on, means trust on, depend on basically. Both skills rely on the same resources which are located in the same brain region. Dash, motor training using a tool improves our ability to understand the syntax of complex sentences. What we have in capitals is however and furthermore, very, very different from each other. However is when you go opposite to the previous statement. And furthermore, when you continue whatever you were saying, means if you are positive, you are now also positive. If you were negative in the previous sentence, now also you are negative. And in the previous sentence, they were very neutral. They just said that the research has shown that these both skills rely on the same resources, which is located in the same brain region. And then we are saying motor training using a tool improves our ability to understand the complex sentences, and syntactic training improves our proficiency in using tools. There is no however required, because we are not going opposite. We are just giving more information on the same topic. There's nothing from positive to negative or negative to positive. So we cannot go with however, rather we'll go with furthermore. Furthermore means one more point that we have on this topic. These findings dash clinically to support the rehabilitation of patients. We have two options. These findings are applying. So what is the meaning of these findings are applying? Means findings are doing the work. Like we say, children are playing. So who is playing? Who's doing the work? Children are doing the work. But findings cannot apply something to someone. We are applying the findings to something. So that will be findings could be applied to support the rehabilitation of patients. That we can apply these findings to support rehabilitation. So that is active passive basically. Those who have clarified the concepts of active passive will be able to select this answer easily. Otherwise, I've explained what is the meaning of these findings are applying, means findings are doing the work, right? So these are the answers. The first one, acquire. Gain is more of a winning side, and acquire is when you work hard, you learn something, you improve something in you, that is acquiring. And skills always go with acquire. A dash between. So if there are two things and they're connected, we can say a correlation between two things. And skills go with rely, because we have on and rely on go together. It cannot be however, because we are not changing our side, we are just giving more information on the same topic, so it will be furthermore. And the last one could be applied, because it's a passive statement, right? Any confusions, anyone? Very good attempt by a lot of you, very well done. Okay, so here is your fourth question on the screen, and you have 2 minutes, and then post your answers, please. Can we use whom for a fund? Whom is used for human beings, I suppose. Or at least largely, mainly for human beings. It can never be used for a fund. You are saying a fund from whom? Fund from whom? Government action is needed so driverless vehicles can be insured dash hacks. So insurance is always done against the negative, whatever the negative impact is. Like we have insurance against fire, insurance against natural calamity. So similarly, they have insurance against malicious hacks, which could have potentially dash consequences if we eliminate ly, which this will mean, which could have dash consequences. So this will have consequences. Consequences means negative impacts. Still we have a blank, so we need adjective. What type of consequences? And obviously the consequences would be negative. So any word which shows negativity here is troubling consequences or catastrophic. So when insurance is done against something, it's always done against a big loss. So it should not be just troubling. Troubling can be very minor thing, or can also be troubling. A child can also be troubling. But insurance is again big events. Catastrophic means very severe. A study says the software in driverless vehicles will make it possible for them to communicate with each other. It is being used and tested on public transport around the world and is dashed to be available in the future to private vehicles. So here some word should come which denotes future, and we cannot say must, it and is must to be available, could be, or through to be. Nothing comes with to. First of all, likely comes with to, and the word likely means possibility, and we use likely for something yet to happen. So we'll say and is likely to be available means there is a possibility that this will be available to private vehicles in the future. This technology can help improve transport safety, but hacking dash result in accidents. So hacking must result or hacking could result. So hacking must means hacking has to result. So this is the wrong thing. We cannot say that hacking has to do this. This is not a compulsion on hacking, but we are taking a possibility that hacking may result or can result or could result. Any of the modal which shows possibility can work. So hacking could is what we have in the options. Could result in accidents and damage to fleet of vehicles, financial loss, death, and personal injury. Experts have called for the creation of a national compensatory body in the UK offering a guarantee fund from which victims can seek redress. So they can seek the redress from this fund. So we are referring to a fund, completely non-living thing. So we'll say fund from which they can take the money, basically. They can take the redress. Can from and through come together, Bhuvan? A guarantee fund from through victims. What is the meaning of from through together? Any questions, anyone in this particular question? So insurance is always against, and then severe consequences is what we take the insurance for. It's not just troubling. Troubling doesn't show anything severe. So we'll go with catastrophic, which means severe. Third one, likely, because we are talking about future and likely means possibility. The fourth one, hacking could result, again possibility. We don't really know that hacking, or rather we cannot say that hacking will result or hacking has to do this thing. Hacking may result in accidents. And for the word fund, we can never say whom. We will say fund from which. We refer to non-living things saying which. Okay, so wrong understanding, that means. All right, the last question for today, number 5, and then we'll wind up. 2 minutes for this. All right, should be done. Anybody left to post the answer? Okay, let's discuss. So this says marketing research is the function that dash the consumer, customer, and public to the marketer through information. So we have singular noun and we need a verb with S. This is a function that links, or this is the function that specifies, or this is the function that results. Results can be both verb and a noun. So we have three things. This is a function that put 1, 2, 3 things to the marketer. So we are trying to establish a connection between these three to the marketer, between these three and the marketer. So it should be links. So is a function that links all these three things to the marketer, because links come with 2. Through information, which information? Information used to identify and define marketing opportunities and problems, generate, refine, and dash marketing actions. So first forms of verbs without S they are using. We will also find first form of verb, which is evaluate and address. So generate, refine, and dash marketing actions. So address is used for negative things, like we generally say how to address poverty, how to address any problem basically. So evaluate will come here because here we don't have any problem written. So generate, refine, and evaluate marketing actions, monitor marketing performance, and improve understanding of marketing as a process. Marketing research dash the information required. So again, research is singular. We need a verb with S, and we have marketing research results the information, or marketing research specifies. Specifies is better. Specifies the information required to dash these issues. Now with 2 comes first form of verb without S. We are left with only 1, and it makes sense also. Like I said, address comes with problem. So issues would be negative here. And then they say designs the method of collecting information, manages and implements the data collection process, analyzes the results, and communicates the findings and their dash. So it should be plural. Communicates the findings and their results. Findings itself means results. So finding is what the result is. So you're communicating the finding and the impacts of those findings. So impacts means implications, consequences. So that will not be results. Results would be the finding itself is the result, result and the impact of the result, result and the consequences of the result. So that would be implications, right? So these are the answers. The first one is links. Because the noun was singular, we need a verb with S, and the verb should go with the word to, and all these things fits with the links. The second one, we needed first form of verb without S, generate, refine, and evaluate, because there's nothing negative. So we cannot go with address. The third one, marketing research specifies the information. Basically means this research tells us the information required to dash these issues, to address the issues. Address always comes with a negative noun. And the last one, you have communicated the findings and their dash. So something of the findings. They cannot be results of the findings, because findings and results means the same. So findings and their implications, findings and their impacts, findings and their something like this, right? Any confusion in this question, anyone? 𝗙𝗲𝗀, the one with E effect is a noun, the one with A effect is a verb. That's the difference between both of these. So these are all the questions that we had to do today. Any question, confusion with anyone in this particular question can please ask. Okay. I'm telling you the meaning only, 𝗙𝗲𝗀. Effect is a noun and affect is a verb. So something affects you. So that is used as a verb. And effect is what are the effects of globalization? That is the noun form. The effects can be positive effects, negative effects. So effect is a noun. Right? Okay, so these were all the questions that we had to do today. I hope effectiveness is also a noun. Every word that ends with NESS is a noun. Sujan, you haven't gone through the grammar videos, that means. And it's going to be have negative impacts for you only. Good, Gagan. 19 out of 25 is a good score. Try that. If you can take it above 20, it would be better for 8. So we'll read the same sentence. What are the effects of global warming? That's effect. Effect is globalization affects the planet. That's verb, affect. Right? Any other